It's 11 o'clock, and this is Sportsline, a little pro and amateur battle today at Cairns Field involving the Stallions. The Huskies getting set to name their starting quarterback after yesterday's tri-game in Edmonton. And the Greater Vancouver Open had a Calcavecchia-type ending. Hi, everyone. I'm Peter Lubarnius. Welcome to the Sunday edition of Sportsline. Elsewhere tonight on the show, we'll have the complete Major League story. The Expos were in Chicago. Toronto was closing out a series in Kansas City. We'll bring you up to date on a bunch of local notes and a little action from the Belgian Grand Prix. But first, we'll begin with local baseball. It is not very often the pros take on the amateurs in the world of sport, but today that was the case at Cairns Field as the Saskatoon Stallions tangled with the Rempel brother Cubs All-Stars in an exhibition game. Now, for years, people have really wondered how the best local and area talent would match up against players from the Prairie League. Well, now some of those questions have been answered, and we'll show you what transpired today. What a great play. 4-0 Stallions early, but Jason Lindbergh of the Rempel brother Cubs to rob Eddie Rios. You might see that play later in the show. How about Eddie Rios going to the hole here to make an outstanding play to Dan Halpern at first. Trailing 4-0, the Cubs will score. That's Brian Nelson in the outfield because of injuries today to the Stallions. They had a little fun. Neil Corey driving in Ben Van Eiderstein. It was 4-1. Benji Cabra, the ground out to David Zanuto for the out, but good enough to score Kyle Billingsley, and the Stallions led 5-1. They'd add to their lead later. Billingsley, the sacrifice fly, long enough to cash in Andre Johnson, and it is 6-1. In the sixth inning, the man they call the Iron Man, Dan Halpern, scoring Brian Giles from third, and it's 7-1. More good defense. This time, Zanuto deep in the hole. Look at this. Is he going to throw it? Caber? Oh, he did. Good plays all around today. A good, solid effort by the Rempel brother Cubs. The Stallions, too much. And, I mean, that is pretty much what one would expect. But, you know, both sides thought it was a pretty good deal. Today, we have these thoughts.
We got something out of the game, and it's a lot better than sitting around for 6 days. And plus, you know, I think some of the fans around town wanted to see how these guys matched up against us. And I think that a fair assessment would be that they're a very competitive club, but it's just a different talent level than we have. But I liked it. It's good for us.
Well, I'm glad it's over in the way that we kind of got that myth that we could play with them. I mean, I think as far as the defense went, we stuck with them pretty good. Offense showed that, you know, they're used to our 89-mile-an-hour fastball. We're not used to theirs. So
I tell you, it's a tough business. This pitching here, coming out and seeing some big-time names like Giles, the leadoff hitter, played in the majors for like probably 12 years, and it don't matter where I threw it, he seemed to find a hole in the gap or anywhere. But I enjoyed it. It was a good experience for me.
They were what I hoped they would be. I was hoping they would have a pretty solid competitive club, and you know, they made a couple errors, but they made some good plays. And the most important thing was I thought their pitcher was competitive, and evidently tomorrow they also have a real good pitcher.
Well, that pitcher tomorrow night will be Sheldon Sawatsky, as those same two teams will collide once again, Cairns Field.
It's 11 o'clock, and this is Sportsline.
Quite an exhibition tonight at Cairns Field. You would have expected the Stallions to dominate the Rempel brother Cubs, but you know what? They didn't. Closer to home, the Huskies getting ready to open the defense of their national title. And in St. Louis, Pedro and the Expos trying to deal with the card.
Good evening, I'm Leah Runnels.
And I'm Peter Lubarnius.
Also coming up tonight on Sportsline, more highlights from the majors of baseball. The Jays had the night off, mind you, but we will have some more highlights. The Blades camp underway. We will take you there briefly. And we will for the rest of the week as long as it lasts. And U.S. Open, day one highlights today.
Have I ever told you that I'm fairly partial to hockey?
Yeah, a few times. And you
love that game.
To do that
I love all these games. Beautiful. It's my favorite time of the year. They're all crossing. Football, hockey. Beautiful. Anyway, let's start with baseball. The pros versus the amateurs. That battle continued at Cairns Field tonight. For the second straight day, the Saskatoon Stallions tuned up for the Prairie League playoffs, kind of, by playing the Rempel brothers All-Star squad. Yesterday, the Stallions won handily, 7-1. This evening, the Cubs were looking to close the gap or maybe widen one the other way. Early on, Neil Corey trying to punch in a hit, but great grab by Andre Jansen in center field to stop a potential run. But the Cubs strike first. Kevin Sawatsky off of Jose Rodriguez, home run, 1-0 in favor of the Cubs. And they would add to that a little later, hit and run. Mike Gamble off the glove of Eduardo Rios, scoring Quinn Uselman, and it was 2-0. The Stallions fight back. Andre Johnson, I mean, it could be, it might be, it's over the wall. I mean, I saw Domino's out there. The guy delivers. It was a homer. 2-1. Later on, Mike Gamble one more time with a score 4-1. He doubles down the line. All of a sudden, what's happening here? Well, there's a lot more happening here. Daniel Rockman with a bases loaded. That almost got out of here for a grand slam. It scored 2 more. And at this point, slide by Todd Davis, it was 6-1. Would you like some more? Oh, yeah, there's some more. They're going to make it 8-1. 2 more runs come home on that particular double by Ben Van Eiderstein. And Andre Johnson robbed by Quinn Uselman. Guess what? Double play. Guess what? Final score. Guess what? Stallions had it handed to them on a plate tonight. 8-1. Now, granted, I mean, these games are tough for them to play. They're getting ready for the playoffs, but what an effort by the local all-star team. We'll hear a little bit more from Keith Smith, but after the game, he looked at me and he said, well, it was a little better than a root canal. Anyway, the Cubs thought it certainly was, and we have these post-game thoughts.
Well, I'm just thinking that where were the bats yesterday, first of all, because it could have made it a little closer and more entertaining. Today we got all the hits timely, and 2 key hits for the hit and runs that got us going. I think that lifted us.
These guys hit the ball well, and like you saw last night, they can hit the ball well if you don't change your speeds. And that's one of the things that I thought I did well tonight, and I just kept them off balance, and got some ground balls and flyouts, which helped me well.
Are you guys a little surprised that you could come out here and beat this team by 7 runs?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised after what I saw last night. Our pitcher, I thought, pitched pretty good, but they hit it the other way, and I thought, yeah, I was definitely surprised on how we did tonight. But I'm glad we rebounded from last night and did pretty well.
I think I'm more surprised at the fact that they hit our pitchers around a little bit. The way their pitchers shut our guys down on offense didn't surprise me a lot, because it's the same thing I said yesterday. When you get guys getting the ball up above 86, 87 miles an hour and you execute pitches in locations, you're going to get people out, and that's all the way to the big leagues. You know, they don't throw that much harder in the big leagues than these guys did out here tonight, and that'll work.